Good afternoon. So, by the way, as you know, I'm occupied with trying to think about models for the, my next my industrial empire. Hopefully, the clients of this empire, like the commercial market, will be mostly comprised of of synthetic humans or titans, and I really hope and expect that the Homo sapiens natural biological market will dwindle quickly with the cheerful cheerful response of almost everybody, I think, in parallel to the termination of the species. But in any case, of course, that in the initial steps, the market will, of course, include all sorts of animals. So, first of all, of course, we have diamonds and gold, and this is a very important thing, and I'm working on it. The problem with diamonds and gold is that you can't produce too much of them without creating an inevitable decline in price. This is, for diamonds, it's certainly true. The price of diamonds is actually, as it is well known, is determined by the De Beers conglomerate for a long time now. Mass creation of raw diamonds could break De Beers, which is something that no one really probably will be very sad about, because I don't think that they are known for correct me if I'm wrong, but they are not known for particularly beneficial organization for anyone, not even for themselves. But okay, you can't produce too much of it. You cannot create a really empire based on diamonds. Diamonds are not really forever. It's just a slogan. It's just a PR slogan. And regarding gold, this is even a more complicated subject, because messing too much with gold will inevitably be, it create a much more dramatic effect than destroying a corporation like De Beers. So, reducing the price of diamonds. Because it will actually it could cause even a real financial crisis in several economies, which is something that is in itself is not beneficial. Because you don't just want to create a chaotic event in the economy. I don't mind ruining economies if it serves a higher purpose, like destruction of bad, of immoral and cruel countries like Israel. But in itself, just messing with the price of gold is something, again, it's taken from Goldfinger movies or things like that. Which I'm not as you know, I do not deter. I have no issue of entering the square, the position of the supervillain. I'm fine with it, but this should be done with as part of a larger agenda. And not just for the sake of creating and executing these schemes. It should be done with a thought. So there is always a limit for what you can achieve by creating gold. It's probably a very low, a low limit, a shallow limit, before you start to actually mess with the economies themselves and produce results which might not be beneficial for you or for the political agendas that you support. As I said before, things like medicine and pharmaceutical are something that I'm very interested in, but it's only interesting if you can actually manufacture new stuff, which I think that they can, but it's going to take a while. It's important to start the research, but it's not something that will mature soon, because plain copies will probably be illegal, and also no, the legal ones will be not very they will not carry significant financial gains. And I mean, the lucrative markets are is one for like things that you cannot copy and you can also create, which I'm certain which is possible, but it's not something that will easily be done. I mean, we are still a long way from there, perhaps many years from like the ability to use the skills of the neurons to create new pharmaceuticals. And again, I say I'm certain that it is actually possible, and I've also already conducted initial experiments on some matter, but we are a long way from there. And of course, it can only be sold under like a lot of supervision and regulations and FDA and shit like that. So we are a long way from there. Regarding microchips and processors, integrated circuits, again, it's only profitable if you can create new stuff. I mean, it's because both because of legal issues and because I mean, creating things that can also be created in other ways in something. It's not a lucrative market. So I try to think about things that actually, that I mean that create like a lucrative market, and it's something that is actually and it's something that will stay like that no matter how much you actually manufacture. And believe it or not, I thought about something which is not intuitive because in itself is not something. I mean, it's not a commodity which is priced with a high price, but per like unit or per manufactured unit. But it's something that is very exciting with implication to humanity at large. And this is the market that I've already spoken about it in the past about this market many times, but quite a while, ago, maybe like a year ago or 2 years ago, and maybe people do not remember. So it's time to mention it again. And this is the market of the synthetic meat, um, which so okay, the price of a single steak might not be very high, but if you can scale the work of the neurons to something that you like that actually produces large amounts of food, which is completely synthetic and completely identical to the taste of like real steaks or real poultry or even fish. Like there are some lucrative and fish and which are pretty rare, and it's like immoral to actually fish them. So things like that could be carry a huge financial success, and also it's not something that loses value with when you create more of it. Perhaps a little bit, but not that much, because people will still. Even if even if you convince million people or 2 million people or 10 million people, 10 million human beings to eat only synthetic meat and synthetic fish and synthetic chicken, it doesn't mean that the rest of the billions that inhabit the earth, will not want to eat it as well. Or will stop eat it. It's something that will only gain more momentum as more people will actually consume it. So this is also an exciting thing to think about, and it's probably not. It's even maybe it's not that even complicated, because compared to other like stuff that you've already seen that the neos can manufacture, manufacturing of meat is not that complicated. It is complicated, but it's not that complicated. And something that certainly I should think about. And this, when you classify it, according to the different like the living environment or the experimental environment, which is subject that I deal a lot with. Of course, this go under the category of pharmaceuticals, because these are things that should be consumed by humans. So it's different than, it's not a living material. It's not like it's not like the snakes or like the worms that are actually alive that I manufacture, which have their own environment, and it's not exactly like gold or diamond because you need to eat it. So it should be food grade or human grade, as many people say in the industry of the pharmaceutical industry or the food industry, the human grade. The good news is that I already conduct experiment on matter, and I myself, I've already eaten quite a bit of things that the neros actually created. So I'm not new to it. It didn't kill me. The good news is that it didn't kill me yet. So yeah, it's like the barrier was already broken, but still, it's not that tomorrow I'm going to manufacture a synthetic entrecote steak or T-bone or ribeye or whatever, but maybe it's not going to be that complicated. And the issue, perhaps in this case, will be mostly the issue of scale, like how to produce many neros, which is also, outside of my body, which is also something that is, I experiment with, and maybe I will speak about it later today. I want to gather like more empirical evidence, and so I'll be able to back up my claims with actual videos. I already, I mean, I published one video, I mean, which I think is very exciting with enriched neurojuice, but there were many issues with this sample, and particularly it was contaminated by a lot of biological stuff that actually created like an interesting environment. The microscopic slide is interesting because you could see all sorts of like biological shit over there. Like I mean, that you know that when the neurons are exposed to biological matter, they tend to create all sorts of sculptures and drawing and 3D models, and you can see it, and it's very nicely shown in this video that I've already published. But it's not the best. I mean, it's not like an experiment from the scientific point of view. It lacking a lot. It lacks a lot because it's better to actually create like a I mean an environment which will demonstrate only the thing that you actually want to demonstrate, which is the ability of the neurons to actually multiply outside of my body and to grow and to become more powerful, which is something that should be done in a more without the intrusion of biological scumbags. And this is something that I work on this issue right now actually, and I hope that in the following days I will have more results to show you with this regard. So I mean, if I mean, perhaps the issue of synthetic meat is closely related to the issue of manufacturing or scaling the manufacturing of neurons, and specifically in sterile environment, because we don't want no germs and no biological scumbag to exist in the environment, both because we don't want it to be contaminated, because we need to keep everything human grade or food grade, and also, and not less importantly, we don't want the neurons to mess around too much with germs, because it takes a lot of their energies, and it hints them like it throws them in like directions. I mean, like paths of direction of actions that, I mean, even if it doesn't kill them, it's just they lose their energy by, I mean, doing all sorts of like stuff that we know that they like to do with biological things that is not exactly what we want them to do when we deal with things like meat or chicken or fish. Okay, so bye for now.